Long ago in Conria, 5 great minds and 1 knight set a plan in motion that would challenge the heavens. These were the 5 sinners: Vedderfolnir the Visionary, Roptatyr the Wise, Rhindaughter the Bioalchemist, Sirtology the Foul, and a lowly assassin pawn, Rerir the Rakier of Solnari. Alongside them stood Dainsleif, the Twilight Sword, and far beyond, theoretically, Piero the Jester, who realized too late what they had done. These people weren't gods, but they did try to rival them. These pillars and 1 assassin peered into the abyss itself, and their kingdom paid the price for it. Now, after the events of Luna 2 Archon Quest, their legacy returns, etched into a golden board within Nefer's chess set. Each piece tells a story of sin, sorrow, and survival: the mayor who broke the divine rules, the seer blinded by the truth, the wolf cursed by obsession, the scholar who smiled while creating disaster, the warrior who pursued ultimate power, and the lowly jester who mourns in silence. Hey guys, what's up? Aru. And this is Conria's chess game 500 years ago that caused it all. And today we're going to read every piece of it. But first, if you've ever wanted to turn your favorite husbando or waifu wallpaper into an animated one, then look no further than today's sponsor, Loopy. Loopy is a brand new iOS app that lets you turn your favorite images into animated live wallpapers. Whether you're into anime, gaming, or characters from Genshin Impact, or pretty much anything you want, Loopy app lets you bring all of your wallpapers to life. Using the link in the description, you can go to the iOS store and get Loopy right away. And right after downloading, you can instantly start animating your wallpapers and go wild with creativity. For example, I really love Hu Tao and I really want her as my wallpaper. With Loopy, I can take still images of my Hu Tao, Mona, and Noelle drawings and easily turn them into live wallpapers that feel alive and personalized. I even tested it with a bunch of my other drawings and it works out great too. The process is quick, smooth, and super fun to play around with. Just make sure that you use your own images or ones that you have permission for, and please don't use this to modify or generate other people's works. So be sure to click on the link below and get the Loopy app and animate your wallpapers with the press of a button. Thanks again to Loopy for sponsoring this video. Now, for a bit of background, the 5 sinners are central figures in the tragic history of Conria's Black Sun dynasty, a nation destroyed not merely by divine wrath, but by the hubris and ambition of its most brilliant minds and a mad king. Once considered the finest among their peers, the sinners Vedderfolnir, Roptatyr, Rhindaughter, Sirtology, and Rerir were advisors, sages, scientists, warriors, and assassins. Together they seized fragments of a world-shattering abyss power, splitting it in 6 ways along with our abyss sibling, and becoming something far more than mortal beings. Once tasked with guiding and protecting Conria, they ultimately became the instruments of its own destruction. In the present day, they exist as transcendent, corrupted entities, as mentioned in their weapon skins, and now they reappear as theoretical images in Nefer's mental chessboard, each represented by symbolic pieces tied to their philosophies and sins. And one of them, I think, is the true catalyst behind Conria's fall. Roptatyr, known as the Wise, once served as the president of the Universitas Magistrorum, making him the most politically influential of the 5 and the closest advisor of King Irminsul. His chess piece is one of 2 masks, a smiling comedy mask crowned with a red gem, fitting for the men who embodied persuasive power and policy by appeasing the king. The single mask missing a tragedy half suggests that his commitment is presenting only the agreeable side of every decision that the king makes, as well as to appease the king in his words, which if you were a mad king obsessed with abyssal power and domination would definitely love. Thematically, Roptatyr is akin to a queen on the chessboard, a powerful piece who manipulates outcomes in all facets and moves. But in a more noble setting, he's also the jester who is not only smart, but also the closely trusted advisor of the king, not only offering comedic and agreeable words, but also influencing the decision of the king by simply commenting his thoughts in the simplest but comedic sense. What's even more terrifying about Roptatyr is his pursuit of limitless knowledge, which is basically achieving omniscience. He is in all cases an abyssal mirror image of the primordial one and reason. Now, if Roptatyr is the comedy mask, then who is the tragedy, the frowning mask? While opposing that comedy mask is the tragedy mask of Piero, the Fatui's current jester and the likely candidate for the sage known as Eftervit. Though not among the 4 pillars or physically seen within the quest, Eftervit served as the vice president of the Universitas and was deeply envious of Roptatyr's station. His name, I think, is derived from Afterwit, which means wisdom that comes after the event. And it honestly lines up perfectly with Piero's wisdom after the events of Conria's fall. He's the one who realized way too late what the other sinners had done, but also the one whose knowledge was to warn them of the abyss's consequences before the cataclysm was set in motion. Piero's lore from the Pale Flame artifact set supports this too. Since my level of learning could not compare with the sages, I failed to earn the favor of the previous ruler. So too did I fail to stop them from tearing away the veil of sin, which is exactly what happened in Conria 500 years ago, and terrifyingly, it perfectly matches the theoretical scenario that Nefer creates. Piero's mask also embodies the other half of Ruptatir's mask. The tear on Piero's mask is a tragedy mirrored against Ruptatir's hollow, exaggerated smile, while Ruptatir spun truth for compliance and appeasement of the king now is made to mock the laws that failed him. His transformation into the jester marks him not as a sinner, but as a failed witness and mage who couldn't save his kingdom from the sinners, and one who now plays a different game entirely, rewriting fate and challenging Celestia as the director of the Fatui. But another question now arises. Is Piero and Ruptatir related? Are they siblings that ended up as president and vice president of Conria's well-known research academy? Or are they just two people with different views when it comes to appeasing and advising the king? It's honestly possible that they are related in some way, not only to themselves but also to King Irminsul. Ruptatir is a synonymous name for Odin, and Odin is also called Irminsul, but making Ruptatir into a mask then links him to the Commedia dell'arte. So putting two and two together, Ruptatir and Piero might be siblings but are also heirs to the Conrian throne, the sons of Irmin, which might make sense why these people have these eye patches, but that's as far as my headcanon goes, so comment below how crazy I am. Moving on, Rerir the Rakir of Solnari, or the Ravager of the Moon, is both the executioner of the king and the obsessive hunter of his fiancée, the king's personal assassin, a pawn tasked with destroying any remnants of the ancient Crimson Moon dynasty. Although he is simply a pawn, his chess piece is one of the most symbolically rich, a wolf that honestly looks like it's howling in pain, perched within a crescent that's been stabbed by spikes. This is the iridescent moon, and likely the very point where his life shattered and where he chased after Tolindis inside of the iridescent moon gate. The crescent moon symbolizes his lunar obsession, and the purplish-red horns that pierce it represent the abyssal contamination he manifested, reflecting both the iridescent and frost moon marrows that now form a key part of Conria's obsession with the abyss, as well as the current-day dilemma within Nodcry. A wolf is also the perfect representation of a hunter, as he is aptly named within Genshin and in Norse myth as the Ravager of the Suns and Moons. Visually and thematically, Rerir is the rogue pawn, the piece that mentally and physically broke in his pursuit for a simple life. His friend Dainsleif, while not one of the sinners, is still represented on Nefer's board, his figure poised, faceless, and clad in his iconic star-dappled cape and a pretty tall-looking collar, just quite high, honestly. His piece contrasts the others by his deep sense of justice, a deep blue, but he is also still a pawn. Known as the Bow Keeper and the Twilight Sword, a man whose justice-first identity remains uncorrupted even to this day, carrying the curse of Conrians and the power of the Abyss. His blue emblem marks him as the custodian of Conria's laws, rather than its experimental power, which is now purple, a knight who serves for the well-being and safety of the people of Conria, and not the king. Dainsleif's strict code is very much shown in this quest, where he was once a proud knight of his kingdom too, compared to his current anger and cautious hatred of literally anything, a stark contrast between what he once was and what he is today. If the sinners are complex and corrupted and very direct in their influence to the king, Dainsleif is the lawful pawn of this board's moral axis and is pointed at one goal, the polar opposite of what Rerir has done, and that's to serve his people and bring those who destroyed it to justice, even if it was a sinner corrupted by the abyss or a king that blinds his brother. Even worse too, since his own brother, who should have seen this coming, also joined the abyss. Wedderfalnir, Dainsleif's elder brother, is known as the Visionary or the Prophet, a title put directly into his chess piece, a serpent coiling into an Ouroboros, which looks like it's trying to bite its own tail, encircling a golden astrolabe of sorts or a compass, as well as looking a lot like a star, which symbolizes fate in Genshin's lore. He isn't just a snake that tried to chase fate and see through it, rather fate itself latched onto or stuck into him and gave him this curse/blessing at at the same time. This is a literal visualization of Ved's domain, time, prophecy, and the unpredictable and fickle nature of fate, which is of course connected to Easteroth. Vedrfolnir can't change anything or move history, but he can see every version that Easteroth wants to create through his eyes. The golden spines poking through the serpent's body representing the cost of foresight, which binds what he knows will happen depending on what everything and everyone is doing. Knowing what happens comes with the cost of becoming numb to the unfolding events as well, which Vedrfolnir perfectly embodies both in voice and nature. Vedrfolnir partook of the abyss and in doing so likely turned his normal foresight into abyssal one. Even though his eyes were removed by the king, he could still see moments of the future. He's also the only chess piece with gems on his eyes too, compared to the others, which symbolizes his ability to see the future. Something interesting about Vedrfolnir is that his foresight let him see the result of Khaenri'ah, but he still decided to pick the abyss and claim that piece of power. This I think is connected to his new prediction, which is the future that he saw after his eyes were blinded and all he could see was the abyss, darkness. But whether or not this will lead to a good or bad end is still unknown. Rhyndaughtr or Gold is represented as an elegant unicorn knight or mare. Her piece is uniquely royal too, a nod to the knight chess piece, and bears a golden alchemical unicorn horn. That horn I would say is a symbol of healing and medicine that she has. Unicorn horns are said to have healing properties to cure deadly diseases, curses, and poisons. This fits well with her medicinal bioalchemy mastery of Chemia and her refusal to follow Tevat's laws, especially about life and creation. Funnily enough, the knight's curved L-shaped path, unlike the linear movements of other pieces, reflects her non-traditional approach to life. Not even the queen, or rather Ruptatyr, could do that, creating beings like Albedo, Durin, and the other bioalchemical anomalies that followed the cataclysm. Her figure or chess piece includes alchemical symbols and the black crest, which symbolizes Nigredo at the horn's base, and a white crest or albedo at the back of her neck, pointing to her famous dual creations as well as a nod to what she actually looks like in the God's Limits teaser. Her rule-breaking piece also fits with her being a Hexen Circle member and a genius who sought to remake life itself, an apex of Khaenri'ah alchemy and probably the sinner with the most successful ending as a shade of life. Now I'm not sure how she compares though with Ruptatyr, who is looking to become an omniscient entity, which is to become the primordial one. Finally, Certology, the Foul, depicted as a massive greatsword stabbed into a stone. It's honestly a simple meaning that he is currently restrained by his hunger for power, and the answer to that, of course, is the Abyss. His weapon bears a gold eclipse ring, which is the same eclipses and destruction of planets seen in Skirk's teasers and trailers, as well as a guard that glows with a violet abyssal glow, the same abyssal color that both Skirk and Child have. It also makes sense why the sword is stuck into a stone, since Certology isn't just looking for power to use randomly, but what he's looking for is a worthwhile battle where he can go all out. His piece is a statement of power as law. The strong claim everything while the weak perish, which is what he taught to Skirk in her backstory, where strength is the universal arbiter and only the strong deserve to alter fate. The sword's solar eclipse motif might just be Khaenri'ah's abyssal dynasties, likely the Black Sun dynasty, while the planted blade design is basically a symbol for a challenge of strength. If Ruptatyr is the cunning queen of comedy, Rhyndaughtr is the knight who leaps, and Vedrfolnir is the bishop that charts the future, then Certology is obviously the Rook, the tank, and is one of the most powerful pieces of the board. The piece that carries the game from beginning all the way to the end game, an already powerful piece that gets even more powerful as the game of fate continues. And that's a quick look and theory into the 5 Sinner chess pieces within Luna 2. If you enjoyed this video, then do leave a like and comment your thoughts on my own madness on each of these chess pieces. If you want to see more videos like these, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell as well, because we've got a lot lined up, especially with the Fatui, the Sinners, and Khaenri'ah. Of course, there are some characters that are worth talking about too, like the Vincer King Irminsul, but he can be shared another time. Anyway, we're still theorizing based on just chess pieces after all, and I like to think that you guys enjoy this over-the-cut type of content. But that's gonna be it for now, so I'll see you guys in the next video, yeah? Thanks again to Loopy for supporting this video, and as always, stay mad, theorists. Bye!